if I told you that in the 20th century, a pope spoke with an alien in the gardens of the Vatican? That the Vatican's chief astronomer said, "We would gladly baptize Martians." That they run an observatory and are part of a highly controversial telescope project connected to the name Lucifer. And that in hundreds of years old religious paintings, there are UFOs watching over the shoulder of the Virgin Mary? Are these mere coincidences? Or is the oldest and most powerful institution in human history hiding the biggest secret we've ever known? What does the Vatican really know about aliens? And what are they preparing us for? The most ancient institution in human history may be making a quiet, profound preparation for visitors from outside our planet. So, fasten your seatbelts, because we are diving into today's mystery. But first, just before we begin this enigmatic story, we would be thrilled if you would join us on this journey by liking the video and subscribing. Because for us, solving these secrets with curious and questioning friends like you is our greatest source of inspiration. The Vatican, a fortress of history and faith for thousands of years, the smallest, but perhaps the most powerful state in the world. A place where the footsteps of emperors have echoed in its marble corridors, and whose walls have witnessed the secrets of Western civilization. A state with not only faith behind its walls, but also the world's most secret archives, with 85 kilometers of shelving. A fortress where its leader is protected by a private army sworn to sacrifice their lives, and where he can escape through secret passages in times of danger. The story we are told is that the Vatican is concerned not with the worldly, but with the spiritual. But in recent years, the Vatican has been in the headlines with astonishing statements, mysterious technological investments, and incredible rumors seeping from the dusty pages of its history. The modern pieces of this incredible puzzle began to come together in the 21st century, with statements coming directly from the Pope's own chief astronomers. The Vatican, unknown to many, has an extremely serious and advanced astronomy program. The directors of this program are not just priests. They are expert scientists, educated at some of the most respected universities in the world. In 2008, the director of the Vatican Observatory at the time, Father José Gabriel Funes, gave an interview to the official newspaper of the Catholic Church and sent a shockwave through the worlds of science and religion. Father Funes stated that believing in the existence of other intelligent life forms in the universe does not contradict the Christian faith. He went even further, describing these beings as our extraterrestrial brothers. This was a statement so radical, it was never expected to be heard from a conservative fortress like the Vatican. However, this was not an isolated incident. The American astronomer who took over after Funes, Brother Guy Consolmagno, took this discourse one step further, announcing that if he were to meet an alien, he would gladly baptize it. Consolmagno's radical statement might have seemed like the fantasy of a single scientist, but this very thought would be echoed years later, far more powerfully, from the very top of the Church, by Pope Francis himself. In a 2014 speech, the Pope said that if a green alien from Mars wanted to be baptized, the Church would not close its doors to it. This was no longer just a possibility. It was a policy being voiced at the papal level. When such an important institution dedicates so much time and resources to a subject, it means they are taking that subject very seriously. But why? Is the Vatican anticipating an inevitable discovery by the scientific community and preparing a theological foundation to prevent a crisis of faith? Or is there a much deeper reason behind this preparation, one unknown to the public? As we search for the answer to these questions, a much stronger and more jarring voice emerges from within the Vatican itself. Monsignor Corrado Balducci. Balducci was a theologian with an important place in the Vatican hierarchy, a clergyman known for his proximity to the popes. He dedicated the final years of his life to telling the world a truth he believed in. Extraterrestrial beings were real, and they were among us. Balducci repeatedly appeared on Italian national television, arguing that the number of UFO testimonies and the credibility of some witnesses, like pilots, soldiers, and police officers, was proof that this phenomenon was too serious to be a hoax or hallucination. According to him, these beings were not demonic or malevolent. They, just like angels and humans, were a part of God's creation. For a name so close to the Vatican to speak so clearly and insistently was a signal that the alien brother discourse was far more than a simple philosophical exercise. Was Balducci acting as the spokesman for a truth the Vatican knew, but had not yet revealed? As astonishing as these testimonies are, another story whispered in the corridors of the Vatican takes the subject beyond personal testimony to a contact at the highest level. According to the legend, on a summer evening in 1961, Pope John XXIII was walking with his private secretary in the gardens of his summer palace. Suddenly, a bright, oval object descended from the sky and landed silently in a corner of the garden. From the object emerged a being that looked human, but was distinctly different. According to the account, no audible conversation took place between them. But the Pope would later say it was a conversation held from heart to heart in the language of the soul. It is rumored that after this silent meeting, the Pope said, "The children of God are everywhere, though sometimes we have trouble recognizing our own brothers." If this story is true, then the source of the Vatican's interest in extraterrestrial life was neither theological curiosity nor scientific preparation. The source was a direct and personal contact, experienced at the highest level. These truths whispered in the corridors of the Vatican are, in fact, being voiced all over the world by the most reliable sources for decades. Those who know what's going on behind the scenes have begun to break their vows of silence. From the sixth man to walk on the moon, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, to the former Minister of Defense of Canada, Paul Hellyer, many figures are shouting the same truth. We are not alone, and governments know it. Perhaps the Vatican's preparation is not just theological curiosity, but an inevitable move they are making because they know this global secret is about to be revealed. If the Vatican truly possesses such a secret, it would be no surprise that it would want to use the most powerful tools of modern science to investigate it. And now, avoiding speculation, we will convey to you only the verifiable facts and the official names. Because the most chilling part of this topic is the truth itself. The truth is this. On Mount Graham in Arizona, you will find the Large Binocular Telescope, or LBT, one of the most advanced telescopes in the world. And one of the partners in the international consortium that operates this telescope is the Vatican Observatory. And it is also a fact that the name of a highly advanced spectrograph and camera instrument attached to this telescope, designed to study the most distant corners of the universe, was, as an official acronym, Lucifer. Yes, you heard that correctly. Lucifer. The controversy and conspiracy theories created by this name grew so large that the scientists on the project were later forced to quietly change the name to Lucy. So, with all these facts before us, we have to ask, was this just an unfortunate acronym? Or did it carry a much deeper meaning that someone tried to cover up? Evidence of the Vatican's interest in this topic may not only be hidden in modern telescopes, but also in centuries-old works of art. Art historians and UFO researchers have noticed strange anomalies in many religious paintings, especially from the Renaissance period. The most famous is the Madonna with Saint Giovannino by Domenico Ghirlandaio. In this painting, just over the Virgin Mary's shoulder, a black, disc-shaped object emitting bright rays of light is clearly visible in the sky. Even more telling, a man and his dog standing on a hill below are depicted shielding their eyes, staring up at this object in astonishment. Was this a product of the painter's imagination? Or was it a conscious placement of an event commonly seen in the skies at that time into a religious scene? Perhaps the truth has been hidden in plain sight all along, behind art and symbols. When we put all these pieces together, a consistent and disturbing picture emerges. High-level astronomers making bold statements. A theologian from inside the Vatican saying contact is real. An alleged Pope alien encounter. A telescope whose very name carries a veil of mystery. And strange clues embedded in art from the depths of history. The Vatican is the guardian of not only faith, but also of knowledge. So what lies within that protected knowledge? Are these preparations just a theological effort to adapt to the inevitable march of science? Or are they all pieces of a giant strategy for the controlled and slow release of the greatest secret in human history? What does the Vatican truly see when it looks at the stars? And what are they preparing us for? Actually, when the statements from the Vatican in recent years are examined as a whole, a much stranger picture emerges. This is not just a preparation related to extraterrestrial life, but also a new and clear stance against unseen entities. On one hand, the directors of the Pontifical Observatory speak of our alien brothers and say they are ready to baptize a Martian, thus opening a theological door to our cosmic friends. Immediately after, the figure at the very top of the Church, Pope Francis, repeatedly issues warnings that the devil is not an abstract concept of evil, but a real person with a name and identity living among us. So why, in the 21st century, is the Vatican on one hand opening the door to potential friends in space, while on the other, declaring such a clear and literal war against its ancient enemy on Earth? Are these two statements actually two different faces of the same great unseen world that we do not see? The answers, perhaps, are still waiting in the archives behind those magnificent walls, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. If what you've heard has prompted you to think about the secrets of the Vatican, don't hesitate to share your own theories in the comments below. We are very curious to hear your opinions. Your comments and constructive criticism will be our greatest strength. We would love for you to continue exploring hidden truths and untold stories with us. So we strongly encourage you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. We'll see you in the next story.